What's good, people? It's your boy Matt, and we're back. Another episode, Talking Loud Podcast. Run up those likes. We're trying to hit 100,000 subscribers, man. Smash the like, subscribe. But if you guys wanted some of those fire genetics, definitely join up with the ICANN VIP Bean Club, man. Things are popping. Fire genetics are going out to VIPs all the time. So if you guys want to get those mailboxes burnt down, definitely hit that link in the description below. Join up with the ICANN VIP Bean Club, fam. And yo, that Qualtrips germination booster is what you guys need if you guys are popping beans, man. So definitely use this, and you guys will stop losing seeds, man. I know it sucks when you lose those new fire genetics, and I don't want you guys to. So hit that discount code ICANNTHC, grab some of that Qualtrips germination booster, join up with the ICANN VIP Bean Club, and you guys won't regret it, fam. I promise you. Appreciate y'all.
We're about to take it back.
Okay.
Woo! Talking Loud Podcast. It's always Diesel, dog. And guys, today's episode is all about bro science, or is it no science? Is there actually some science to the things that we hear? I don't know. On one hand, you got a ton of things that probably work. On the other hand, you got straight up crazy BS that probably doesn't work. But today we're going to break it all down with my homie Chad Westport, because in the house today we got Chad. What's going on, Chad? He's got his name tag and everything.
I got the hat sideways because we're talking bro science. What's up? Represent.
I love that, man. I got my bro kit on as well, man. I was like, yeah, let's do this, bro.
All right.
We're going to do some bro science. Oh, man. How's it going, Chad? It's been a while since we had you on, bro. What's going on, man? Talk to me, bro.
Yeah, dude, it's been very, very freaking good. Thanks for having me back. We had a rad conversation last time talking about growing bigger buds.
Yeah.
And pretty much a lot of the bro science comes from people trying to grow bigger buds. So I'm glad we kind of covered that on the first one. Now we get to cover some of that bro science, kind of dispel some myths. And, you know, we got chat open. So if you see some, toss them out, guys.
Yeah, if you guys see something, toss them out. And I literally figured, you know, we were going to do something else on today's show, but I was like, you know, the bro science article, I happened to see a bro science article recently, is actually by MJ Biz, you know, and a lot of people in MJ Biz go out to MJ Biz, great convention, all that stuff. But they had an article a couple years back, and I was like, man, some of these things are crazy. I didn't even know that people do these things. Like, what? So, you know, we're going to get into some of those things. But, you know, Chad, you were just telling me off air about, you know, one of the bro science, what the crazy bro science things that you heard back in the day. Like, let's tell me about that one, bro. Let's start off with something crazy.
This one was crazy. This is like probably 10, 15 or so years ago. It's pre-LEDs. So, you know, you got your lights, your HIDs, which have let off a lot of heat. So you want to keep them a good distance away from your canopy. And this was in the overgrow forums back in like Icy Mag days, overgrow forums. And there was a guy who was legitimately having an issue. He's like, my plants keep growing up into my lights. You know, I don't really know what to do. I could raise them a little bit. Nobody suggested training to them. What they did suggest was to cut a hole in the floor. And instead of adjusting your light, it'd be so much simpler if you just lower the floor, bro. Lower the floor. That is like my all-time favorite, stupidest, best bro thing I have ever seen.
Man, when you told me that, I was like, wait, lower the floor. But what if you got a concrete floor or something like that, man? You can't lower that shit. I got a homie who says they don't got basements. I think it's like in Arkansas or something like that. Or maybe it's in Florida. I don't know. But they basically said the floor is too hard for them to build basements over there. So what if you're in one of those places, bro? You can't dig shit.
Bro, dynamite.
Bastard. And then what was he saying about the rock dust and all that, man? We gotta leave that right there, right?
Right? Because I mean, you know, concrete's got like, and your drywall's got gypsum, which is, you know, a good pH neutralizer. It's a source of calcium. That concrete rock mineral's probably got some silica in it. So if you're cutting up that concrete floor just so you can lower it, leave your plants in there, bro. They're getting nutrients.
Yeah, bro, true. That's silica from that rock dust, right? Man, we're really starting off with some crazy bro science stuff today, man. So, guys, hit the like for that. Chat has literally started the show off with a banger, man. The chat is open, like we said. I'm seeing a lot of great comments coming in already. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Let me know where you guys are tapped in from. We got homies tapped in from the UK. We got homies tapped in from Australia, all over the US. So guys, drop it and let me know where you guys are tapped in from. And Green Elder says, I know, we're waiting on you, Matt. Chad is a professional. Just kidding. I'm always late, man. Sorry about that, guys. But today it was actually not my fault. Chad was getting his lighting and his camera ready.
This is true.
So you guys got to give me a little bit of an ease up on that one, man. Much love though. But yeah, man, Chad. So before we actually get into things, I just want to shout out everyone in the chat, man, because everyone in the chat, they always showing love, whether it's your shows, my shows. A lot of people in the chat, they interact and they show love, man. So shout out to everyone, man. Big love to all you guys. And also, if you guys want to get some of those fire genetics, like we said at the top of the show, join up with the ICANN fam, man. Packages are burning down mailboxes everywhere. Packages have gone out over the last couple of weeks. Packages are going out over the next couple of weeks. So you guys join up, tap in, get some of that fire. We got some exclusive stuff for you guys. Now, Chad, the article that I was talking about, I mentioned that it was from MJ Biz. So shout out to MJ Biz. They're always out here doing some great stuff. But what I noticed is that it was a little bit of an older article. So maybe some of the bro science stuff may have, disappeared since then. I don't know. But there's some crazy stuff on here. So let's sort of just run through it, man. Because the first one I wanted to talk about was hanging your flowers upside down. People say that's how you dry your plants, but they do that because it increases the potency. All the THC runs to the bottom of the plant where those buds are. That's why you hang it upside down. What are your thoughts on that, bro?
Yeah, that one's pretty much a myth. And it's a myth that got me hanging my plants upside down long time ago because, naturally it's just got to drain. So all the THC, we now know that that's not the case. The THC is not in the plant. It's not in the stalk. It's not in the roots to the extent that it is in the trichomes. So I don't think hanging your plant upside down increases your trichomes. So yeah, that's a myth that is just kind of been common practice. And that's where a lot of bro science starts. And that's actually where a lot of truths start because sometimes they stack up. Yeah. But yeah, this one, no. Real quick, a good reason why you do actually hang them upside down is if you leave some of the leaves on, they kind of curl around the bud. So they kind of protect the bud. They protect the trichomes. If you have, very low humidity where you're drying, the leaves will actually kind of keep a little bit of moisture around it so the buds don't dry out too fast. That's the real reason you want to hang upside down.
Yeah, that is so true, man. And I found that like hanging your stuff upside down, I call it like little bud blankets. It really protects your flowers so much during that drying process, man. Like some people trim off all the sugar leaves. I've seen people do that. But for me, I'm leaving those babies on. But I can see why people may have thought, I'm drying my flowers. Everyone says hang it upside down. Maybe the THC drains all the way to the bottom. I don't know.
That's what I thought at one point. I'm not afraid to admit it. That's what I thought.
Add 2 and 2 and get like 6. I don't know.
Yep.
But that's definitely one thing that I think a lot of people probably have dispelled that myth, So shout out to MJ Biz with that one. But the second one, man, is a more interesting one that I personally have never heard of or seen before. So you let me know what you think of this one, because I know that you were bouncing around forums back in the day, and maybe you may have heard this one. This is a different one. And it's blueberry compost will actually accentuate the blueberry flavor of your flowers. Burr?
No, not true. And, another place that I've heard this too, a strain a lot of people know is strawberry cough.
Yeah.
And that was originally, it kind of started as strawberry fields, which was the strain. I don't need to go into the whole history, but that cannabis was grown next to a strawberry field. And they thought because there were some like microbes or something in the soil that kind of leached over into it and soaked it up. And that's where strawberry cough or strawberry fields came from. No, that's not going to work. I have tried this. It is an interesting thing. Like traditional cut flowers, you go into the grocery store, you see those like neon roses.
Yeah.
They do that because after they cut it, they'll put it in some, colored water. It will soak it up and it will affect the leaves. But that's not how cannabis works. That's not how flavors works. So no, busted on that one.
Interesting though, because like I have seen like a lot of people back in the day. I remember I was living out in the Caribbean, bro, and one of the first pieces of flour that I got, it was not great at all. It was horrible, bro. But the guy who sold it to me, like a complete like block pusher, like not looking like a savory character at all type guy. He was like came up to the car eating like a mango, bro, like just getting down in that, man. Like getting down in it, bro. And he's like, what you guys want? What you boys want? I was like, oh, well, let's get 2 10-piece, bro. Like, cook me up a 2 10-piece, G. And he was like, okay. He ran up the road, got 2 10-piece, came back down. He's still eating the mango. And all that shit, hands it to us. And when me and my homie get the bag and shit, we go home and we're looking to roll it up. It's literally smelling like mango, like straight up mango.
Here's the caveat to this one. Here's the caveat. If anybody has tried to like rehydrate over dried weed and they put something like an orange peel in there, or they put, I know people who have used like tortillas in there.
Yeah,
whatever. It tasted like tortillas. But if you put that orange peel in there, it is going to impart some of that into the flavor. But again, that's basically because of the gases sitting around it. It's not something that came up through the stem and then into the buds.
Yeah, it's true, because I did do that orange peel one too, man.
Me too.
Yeah, you know, you got some really trash flour and you're like, okay, let me try to make this just a little bit better, bro. Anything.
Yeah, I've tried all kinds of things. I tried, back to the flavor thing. I tried vanilla. Like, 'cause again, I was curious. I just wanted to experiment. So when I was harvesting, I took one of the branches, gave it a nice clean cut, like you'd almost clone it, and just stuck it in that vanilla flavored water. Didn't translate.
No, but that vanilla, man, I could see where you were going with that, man, because I love the smell of vanilla, bro. So, man. But maybe my flour, though, I'm not sure. But I feel like I have had like vanilla smelling slightly flour. I don't know. You ever did like the honey you roll in stuff back in the day and you strip your J and roll it in honey and stuff like that? Ever did that one?
Oh yeah, that's the only way I could get a blunt closed, man.
Oh my, he's serious, man. Your blunts are taken to the next level, bro. I like that. Oh shit. Okay, there's another one, bro. Let's keep the bro science rolling. Hey guys, if you guys got any bro science hats, definitely drop them in the chat. I want to see what you guys are doing, what you guys have got going on. But let me know, man. Let me know. Always. Now I've seen another one. A lot of people say, plants are heavy feeders, right? And we all know cannabis plants are heavy feeders. They love eating and drinking and all that stuff. But you can go a little bit overboard, right? So the next one, man, it's about requiring 20 times more phosphorus than any other plant. Like, is that for me, I think is just a little bit much. And what they're saying here, right, is that when you flip into the flowering stage, it's important to have adequate phosphorus to drive the plant to generative growth. But too much P can cause a reduction in quality and consumer satisfaction. Basically, your joint won't stay lit and the ash is either gray or black.
Ooh, all right. So the myth, what is the myth here? The myth that it requires 20 times more phosphorus?
Yeah.
I don't know what the nutrient loads of every plant on the planet Earth are. It does require more phosphorus than maybe, say, my tomato plant, but always be skeptical when people throw out percentages.
True.
So that one I don't know. I don't imagine it. I don't imagine it. So, and the more we find out too, there's people out there like Brandon Rust who does a lot of soil testing and sap analysis.
Yeah.
It's interesting because he's on a big enough scale to do it to where he could do it every week of a crop. It'd be way too expensive for us, but he could do it. And through that, he's dialed in specific strains, specific feeds. And this was something that I was looking at. No, I actually found out that you don't need nearly as much, and you do need a little bit of nitrogen in flour.
Yeah.
So
that's something I'm actually working with like currently right now as well. Like, you got to add a little bit of nitrogen. And if you notice your plants are lacking a little bit in that nitrogen, don't, think, okay, I'm in flower, no N. Just add a little bit of N. It can go a long way. It'll help you get that green back if your plants are like really sucking up everything in terms of the nutrients. So good one on that, man.
Yeah. And too, too much phosphorus can lead to reduced yields, and that's true. Your soil is all about balance. So if you go too hard on any one thing in particular, you're going to ruin that balance, and that's when things go wrong.
Yeah, that's true, man. And another one that came in the chat right now, I'm seeing interesting from Casnome Gardenome. Does putting a copper wire through your stem, is that worth it? And that is something I actually tried myself back in the day. Have you ever done that? Like literally take a knife and stab the middle of your stalk straight through to the other side, like stretch that baby out?
Yeah, that's a common one too. Putting like a nail through it. Copper throws me for a little more of a loop because copper is a little more electrically conductive. I don't know if they're like, well, if we send the right vibrations, man. But yeah, what this is about, it's rooted in truth, and this is where most bro science comes from. It's rooted in truth. Certain stress responses can increase your yields, and that's been proven. But it's the right stress response. Driving a knife or a nail or a copper wire through the base of your stem is not the right stress response. So, murder!
It's like, what?
Yeah, bro. And if you're not near harvest, like you've just opened up a huge wound asking for infection at the base where everything goes up into the plant. So that's kind of another cockamamie reason. But I do applaud them for using zip ties. At least they thought it through.
Yeah, that's a good one. When Casnum Gardenome said using the copper wire, I thought he meant like wrapping around the copper wire and then sticking the knife through the stem. But I don't know. But copper wire is not something I would think of at all, just because of, like you said, that copper metallic, everything just screams no to me. But I have tried this splitting stalks things once, man, and I had two plants growing side by side, both of them same strain, same cultivar, clones. So it's the exact same thing, scrogged out in a closet. And I did that to one during flower and left the other one. And definitely the one that I did it to, bro, the flower stopped like getting fat and dense, and it like put on those emergency responses. And it just, the one that I did not fuck around with was a lot fatter and it just looked healthier. Well, you can tell that this one, like, it stopped growing the flower at some point, probably because of all the stress it was going through. No?
Yeah. I mean, if you get stabbed in the leg, your body's going to send a response and focus all its energy down there. It's not gonna keep growing your hair or anything.
Nah, bro. So that one, Casnome Gardenome, I definitely would say myth. Stamp it. You gotta get Chad to pull out that the chain and everything.
Boom. Busted.
Busted. Yeah, bro. So I would stay away from that one, man. But I'm seeing so many guys dropping some great ones in the chat, man. Like, awesome. Now, there was another one, man, because you mentioned it earlier, and this one I found was pretty funny. It's not actually on the MJ Biz article, but it's one that I saw when I was doing research for this episode. Lots of different bro science techniques out there, bro. So this one, let me know what you think of this one. Personally, I don't do it, so I'm not going to even speak on it, but let me know what you think. Praying to your plants for better growth, or talking to your plants to make them grow faster, or playing music or specific genres to enhance your plants' growth.
Okay, so again, rooted in a little bit of truth, but 98% bull. If you talk to your plants, we're expelling CO2. If I sat there and talked into my tent this entire episode, my CO2 levels are going to be higher, which can stimulate plant growth. So it's not necessarily the words that are coming out of my mouth. It's just I'm kind of increasing CO2. Now, music for plants. And again, my background is audio engineering. So naturally, I want to combine the two. My best understanding of this is no, it doesn't really help, but it can create sonic vibrations that help movement within the soil. So it's like such a minuscule thing. I don't think it's a benefit that we'd actually be able to like measure in yields. But if you want to get super technical on it, subsonic frequencies, lower frequencies can vibrate the soil and help like water movement within it. But no, don't bank your crop on that one technique.
I heard some people have stopped feeding their plants and everything, bro, and they only run Bob Marley, dude. That's it. Every little thing.
No water, just Bob.
No worries.
Oh, shit.
Oh man,
Do
we're having
it.
too much fun on this episode, bro. Oh shit, bro.
I'm waiting to see it now. I'm waiting to see your Bob plant. Do it, bro.
I got one. I got my Rasta hat and everything, bro. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Don't test me, bro. I'm gonna do it.
I'll send you the seeds.
Say no more. It's done. Oh man. Okay. Now the next one that I do want to talk about, bro, is a little less funny than that one, but It is
All right.
somewhat maybe true because I've seen people, especially when I was living back in the Caribbean, a lot of people like monitor the moon, right? And like the moon and when it's time to plant and it's a good time to plant. What do you think about that? Because, there are some people who harvest plants according to moon phases for better potency. Have you ever done that, looked into it, tried it, anything like that? Just asking.
Um, I've looked into it a little bit. I know a lot of people that do it. I know a lot of people that swear by it. We can still be friends, but I really, I'm an indoor grower too, so it's not necessarily going to make a huge difference. But traditionally, things were planted on full moons because where are you getting a calendar in like 1700s? There's no Hallmark store to go down and get fucking Taylor Swift's like greatest hits 2024. You gotta keep track of it somehow. And so full moon cycles was a way that farmers used to track harvest dates essentially. So that's kind of where the myth is rooted in actual practice.
Yeah, because like back in the day, just like there's different types of almanacs, there's actually like, farmers' almanacs and stuff like that. So people are literally able, like, I think nowadays people even go onto like sites like this one. I just quickly Googled it and was able to see, the solar eclipse is coming, but then there's also like a plant growing guide library and people go in there and determine, full snow moon, like when should I plant certain stuff and all that kind of stuff. So maybe in outside of the cannabis realm, there are people who, really look into it, but when it comes to like our favorite plant, especially indoors, I don't know if it has like that much of a bearing, especially if the plants are indoors in a grow tent. But then again, Mercury retrograde, if you believe in like all that kind of stuff, it can happen indoors, it can happen outdoors. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm cracking up now because where'd it go? Chuck Bailey in chat, he's like, they had calendars in the 1700s, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess they did. They've had calendars for a really, really, really long time. That was kind of a bad example, but you get my point. Like it was so much easier for the farmers to do it that way. Yeah, I'm like, good looking out, good double checking on the facts
there. Yeah, sometimes I literally mix up my dates and I say one thing and I really meant like tons of years past that. So it happens, bro. Don't stress about it. But yeah, dude. So that one I'm not too sure about.
1700s before the first extinction cycle. How about that?
Because even Company Nub says in Costa Rica, the people plant and harvest crops according to moon phase. Like a lot of outdoor grows and stuff. Still in old school says, I cut clones on full moons.
I know a lot of people that do it. A lot of people that swear by it. Yeah.
That's the first time I'm hearing that one. Cut clones on full moons, man. Wow. So why do people do that? Still in old school, drop and let me know if you can tell me why, man. That's pretty interesting.
Yes.
Desmond also says he pops on full moon. So interesting, man. A lot of I did not expect that many people to like, be on that much of that wavelength. But anyway, let's keep the bro train rolling, bro, because we got some more things coming up. Now, choo-choo, bro train incoming, choo-choo. Now the next one, man, it's Chad, I love that friggin' necklace, bro. I swear to Bob Marley, bro.
No, grows your plants 10 times better.
Telling you. Now, plants don't use green light. Some people say, they don't use green light at all. You could go in there with that green light helmet and everything, and it'll be fine. I don't know. But I think this one is speaking more about the notion that green light is not required through like spectrums, like pan spectrums on your grow lights and stuff like that. A lot of people just think it's only red spectrums or bluish spectrums. That's how you got the blurpo. So no one thinks about green at all. You have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, plants definitely can see and use green light. And this is something that we're understanding more and more. Probably the best bit of information I found on this in particular is from Dr. Bruce Bugbee. He's the Apogee Instruments guy, very, very intelligent light scientist, I would call him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does. And there's two systems, and I may get this wrong, but the Google will get you close enough to the right spot. But there's two receptors that trigger photosynthesis. And this, I think it's phytochrome, like phytochrome 1 and phytochrome 2. That basically kind of awake and let the plant sleep. Because again, we're worried about interrupting night cycles. And the myth was you can go into your, grow room at night with a green light and it's not going to trigger anything. You can work, you can do whatever. And yeah, they found that to be not true, because those phytochrome receptors do actually become active, which again, you don't want to interrupt that cycle. It's not very efficient, but it does use it and it does see it.
Yeah, and that's pretty interesting because, like, I think a lot of people just sort of overlook that, and especially with people just saying, you get this green light and you can go into your grow room. Plants don't use green light, but I think that they use everything on the spectrum, man. There's a use for most of them, not maybe everything, but for most of them within a certain range, and they use it, but in different amounts, like different fractions. It may not use everything. And what Johnny Ryan, sorry if I mispronounced that, says plants use green light. Only a small fraction we see reflected back at us. So, I think you're right.
Yep. And it's true to his point. A lot of it is seen underneath the top layer of the canopy, because the top layer is kind of really grabbing a lot of those blues, a lot of those reds. So it's usually showing up underneath but underneath that kind of initial layer of canopy.
Yeah. Now, Chad, you're making me feel for some pizza, because pizza's around, not flat. Now, Dad, Tense, and I both want pizza, bro. Oh, man. There's a controversial bro science thing, man, that's been going around for years. If you started growing at any point in time, you probably heard someone say, yo, you got to eat pizza after you smoke. No, I'm playing. They probably
left-handed.
Left-handed. With your pinky out. But nah, I'm just playing though. But a lot of people do say, you got to flush. And after you eat that pizza, you may have to flush. But nah, for the jokes. They do talk about flushing, man. Like, you flush your plants. Some people who are in organics may not do it or may have different views. Some people say it's straight up bro science. So what do you think about that, man? I personally have flushed before. I have not flushed before. What do you think about it?
I think whatever my answer will be, there's going to be people with pitchforks outside of my door.
100%.
So here's what I do. So first of all, you said organics. Break it down. The whole point of organics is to keep the nutrients in the soil, to keep the microbes in the soil, not disturb the soil, basically. So flushing in an organic system would be bad, because you're depleting the battery. And onto like a synthetic side, there is something that you need to understand about soil mobility. Different nutrients have different mobilities in the soil. So certain things, like I could add a ton of water, like nitrogen, I could add a ton of water, it's going to wash itself out. But there's other things that may still remain. I flushed for, like a decade, because that's kind of what the science the bro science was. And it's logical when you think about it. I've been adding all this sodium and salt into the soil, water will wash it away. And that is true. But what we're trying to accomplish is a cleaner plant. So there have been some studies recently, over the past 2 years, so actually very recent, that didn't show a significant enough reduction of those nutrients in the leaf tissue and the final flowers compared to a non-flush. Yeah. So it may kind of be mind over matter. The best way to really do that is to maybe cut your feeding a little earlier. Now, people may be worried about, but I'm going to lose some yield. You may, but you're not going to lose like an ounce off of a 3-ounce harvest. You may get a little bit of a cleaner product. And for a lot of us, when we're just, growing at home and growing for ourselves, I would rather sacrifice quantity for a higher quality. So if you want to flush. If you're in organics, don't do it. But yeah, go ahead. And if it makes you feel better, do it. I always go, when I was doing the synthetic bottles, I would always go like pretty much pure water for the last 3 weeks. And that's kind of how I went about my flush after a time. After I got tired of taking freaking pots from like the garage grow room into the bathtub, running it under the nozzle, trying to take a heavy dripping ass plant back and then do that like a bunch of times. So I was like, no.
Man, I mentioned flushing and the chat got active, bro.
Of course, they're getting their pitchforks. They're like, F this guy, man.
No, some of it is a lot of
Represent
love.
what?
We got the chatty on the gangy. But
Yeah.
no, some people say, well, Slayer says flush toilets, not plants. I like that. Make sure you flush. It really pisses me off when, someone doesn't flush. Or even worse, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent, but like, you ever go out in a public bathroom, bro, and you see someone walk into the toilet, they go into the stall, they come out the stall, and they walk straight out of the bathroom. They ain't even wash their hands, bro. Like, come on, man. That's really nasty, man.
Dude.
You got to flush and wash your hands. It's a 2-step process. When it comes to the flushing, man, Cam Z says flushing is to fix problems. Leaching is for finishing, right? So I think that's sort of what you meant. You referenced as well, man. So you sort of cut the nutrients that you're feeding a few weeks before harvest, right?
Yeah. That's what I do. And yeah, flushing to fix problems. Sometimes your soil does need a reset, but at the end of that mass amounts of water, you're always adding a small amount of nutrients back in with it. So it's not a total thing. And then leaching, it's kind of semantics there, flushing or leaching, because it's the same thing using the same material with the same quantities of that material.
Yeah.
But it can differentiate the purposes there. So I see that.
Yeah, I agree, man. And a lot of people sort of agree with the fact that, flushing, you get rid of a lot of the harmful excess stuff. It can help nutrient imbalances. But Vizarro says, but flushing for the last 2 weeks does not necessarily increase your quality. What about the quality aspect? Do you think it increases quality? Maybe some people say that it flushes all those nutrients out, so you get a cleaner tasting, enjoyment of the smoke, stuff like that.
Well, there's a little bit of I would attribute it to a little bit of a stress response. If the plant is running out of nutrients, it will start to eat itself. And we'll see that in the lower leaves. If we're short on nitrogen, those big lower fan leaves will turn yellow because it translocates them up. Not every nutrient is mobile in the plant or the soil. A lot of them are. But in this case, it would be, starting to starve. So it's like, oh crap, I'm about to die. I'm going to finish. I want to just one last hurrah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could
just
help
to get it through, man. And I would definitely say, T Money says, we've been growing 2 years. This run is the first run. He's going to try a true flush versus his soft flush. He increased PK boosters and decreased the base nutrients over the end of flower. So, give it a try. Try it, see how it works out for you. If it works and you're satisfied with the end results, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what I like to say, man. A lot of people grow in different ways and grow that fire. Just like my homie T Money says, my weed is stank and dank the way Mother Nature intended.
Yep.
I like that.
And I want to say, just to add on to what you said, whatever makes you feel good, do it. Because at the end of the day, flushing is like flushing in the last few weeks. It's not going to hurt your plants. So there may be some extra moisture to deal with or humidity, but you're not going to hurt it. So if you feel like it helps and you like it, do it.
Yeah, I agree, man. And always flush water and wash your hands. So if there's anything you guys took from today, flush water and wash your hands. But let's move on, because I've seen another great bro science technique. I don't know what you guys want to call it, but it was pretty interesting. And someone says, snapping those stems, and this kind of made me think not only about snapping stems, because everyone sort of snaps the stems, does the super cropping and you get some thicker stems. But I've noticed back in the day, I've heard about something called, I think it was bud bucking. Is it something like that? You know what I'm talking about? Or bud bucking, where you literally cut your buds in half and then it grows a little bit bigger.
Whoa, I almost swore that's how smart that sounds.
Yeah, man. If you haven't heard about it, I'm gonna try to see if I can pull it up, man. But it's literally something that I've heard people do back in the day, and it was pretty intense. Like taking a scissors and cutting a flower, when it looks so beautiful, you just cut it off in half.
What the heck? Yeah. As far as the snapping the stems, this is my first undecided, because I've gone both ways. And so in theory, what it does is when you're cracking the stems, you're breaking it up. It's ruining the tissue fibers in the cell wall. So it has to regrow bigger, and it's supposed to grow a bigger pathway that can handle more nutrients through. And of course, if you have more nutrients getting to those buds, then it means bigger buds. I stay undecided though, because I've done it. I've done it both ways. And I can't say that with my eyes, I noticed a difference. nutrients.
Yeah.
There may be a small statistical difference, but I personally haven't seen like, oh my God, I'm going to do this every time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Same.
I'm undecided.
Same. And something I also did want to mention, because I seen another comment about it right here. I'm gonna just pull it up. You know, throwing out your soil. A lot of people, think you gotta throw out your soil after every run and start fresh. And me personally, I reuse a lot of my soils unless I have a really bad problem. What about you? Do you reuse your soils, your mediums, or do you start fresh every single time, buy a new bag of soil?
I recycle it to the garden outside.
Okay.
So yeah, like I
Interesting.
yeah, I don't have a true living soil indoors, even though I try to run a living soil and try to go organic. I don't have a bed indoors, and that would be that's the best way to reuse it. But you absolutely can reuse it. And that's where something like soil testing would come in handy, because you can
Absolutely.
take whatever you start with, whether it's like Fox Farm, whether it's Royal Gold, Kiss Organic, whatever. You kind of have a base nutrient charge to it, and your plant's going to pull, like different levels of different things down. You get that soil test, you find out what it is, and then you amend it back up to this. So yeah, you can keep reusing it, particularly in organics. The more salt-based nutrients that you use, the higher the sodium would get. And watch out for that. You get a whole bunch of water through it. So yeah, but excessive amounts, like excessive. Yeah. And then you restart, you restack the deck with your nutrients, and then you go from there. So yeah, you can reuse the soil over time. The thing you're worried about is compaction, because the more compact the soil gets, the less airspace there is for the roots. So there's an infinite number of times you can reuse it, but yeah, you can absolutely reuse it.
Yeah, I agree with that one, man. And a soil test will definitely come in super handy. That's a great point. Some people may, think of it as unnecessary, but if you're growing on organics, man, it can be invaluable knowing like what sort of nutrient levels you got in there and what sort of nutrient levels you need to like just amend a little bit. So yeah, I would definitely say, if you haven't tried it, give it a try. Now, before we actually move on, guys, I do have to ask you guys, hit that like button, man. We got tons of people in chat right now. We got tons of people tuned in. The Bro Science trainers, making moves. So you guys definitely hit the like. Show some love. Show some love, man. We are pulling up at the station. And the next station is one that is straight back actually to the MJ Biz article, bro. And they're saying this one is not a myth, allowing an extended dark period, 24 to 48 hours before harvest. And I seen this one in the chat early on. Shout out my homie Chris McNeese, Colorado. Chris, my bro. But he said this one says allowing an extended dark period before harvest is actually not a myth. Many terps are volatile and evaporate in warm temperatures. As soon as the grow lights kick back on, they begin to disappear. Keeping plants on in the dark until harvest time gives these delicate terpenes a chance to make it to the dry room. Do you agree with that? Do you disagree? It's okay to disagree, bro.
You know what? I disagree. I disagree with this one. So I have, obviously, I've done both. Yeah. And the most common reason for it is exactly as they said. It's, well, you want to preserve terpenes. You turn the lights on, you get a whole bunch of heat, and then you're going to lose all your terpenes. But here's my response to that. You're worried in the last 2 days of your run about terpenes? Those same lights have been on the entire time. And now all of a sudden, the last 2 days, you're like, but dude, if we turn them on, they're gone. So yeah, and it makes sense to me, but then you apply a little critical thinking and you're like, wait, the last what? I've never been opposed to it though. The one thing you do want to watch, particularly if you're in a tent and you're leaving it closed, lights out, it's not going to heat up. It will be colder and your humidity is going to be higher. That's a great chance for PM. So that's one thing to watch out, monitor your humidity levels. But up until probably within the last 2 months, I couldn't think of a reason why not to. And a very, very smart guy was in the middle of just this like long paragraph explanation story. And I pulled one sentence out of it. I'm like, okay, I got to get you on for an interview because you are about to shatter this whole myth. I should send MJ BizCon a link to the episode because I'm hoping to get him on soon, but it relates directly to the trichomes, and that's really what we're after with this plan. So yeah, that's another reason I'll disagree. I can't expand on it now because all I know is that one sentence, and
Yeah, no, I
I
feel
want to
you.
learn more.
Yeah, I'll be interested to find out that one because, like, when I first started growing, bro, straight up, I was like, yeah, 48 hours, we're cutting those lights off, baby. And I'm like literally making sure it's pitch dark in there. I'm like, no light leaks, nothing, pitch dark. And I was like, yeah, we got more potency, more terps. Everything's going to be sticky, icky, and I'm going to get more THC. Yeah. But you're right. I have stopped doing that after a while simply because it's super inconvenient to have the lights off for 48 hours and the plant's just sitting out in there, bro. It's like valuable real estate just sitting out in there for 48 hours. I've done 72 hours. I've done a little bit longer than that. And honestly, I haven't noticed too much of a difference. But granted, like I haven't done like a side-by-side comparison, 48 hours. This is how the flower looks. This is how it looks. Not with it, So
Yeah.
yeah.
And we don't, we don't really have a great way to measure other than just our senses, which aren't the most scientific. And even if
Literally.
they do find differences, a lot of times we're talking about like this much of a difference.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I would agree on that, man. Now, yeah, there's another one too, man, and this is not from
I
MJ Biz.
disagree.
Oh man, I almost choked on that one. This one's not from MJ Biz, so MJ Biz, don't flam me for this one, man. But what about pee, man? If you were to pee on your plants, because I did see a different article that came up. It was like, what if you were to straight up pee on your plants? Because your pee is high in nitrogen, right? I remember back in the day, I was peeing on a plant when I was a little boy, and my dad was like, don't worry about it. And telling my mom, don't worry about it. That's nitrogen. It's good for the plants. And I never forgot about that. And I always use it as an excuse to pee outdoors. So I don't know.
So again, a little bit of truth. What we do pee out minerals. We do pee out, nitrogen. We do also pee out pharmaceuticals. We do also pee out other things that if they're in our blood system, that's also going to the plants. If you really want to do it, your first piss of the day has the most nutrients and minerals in it.
Ooh, nice
but
hot one from the whole
yeah, yeah. You know what? No, guys, we have access to better fertilizers than this. In regions of the world where they don't have access to things, I
Yeah.
might suggest it. But we're not there. So buy a damn bottle or some top dressings and quit peeing on your plants.
Yeah, some people probably buy a bottle, pee in it, and then pour their plants with that. No, but I did see this. They said pros is like it works good as commercial fertilizers when used properly. So depending on what you're doing outdoors, maybe you can use it. It does have some decent NPK according to this article, anyway. And
Urea, yeah, I mean urea is a common farm nitrogen booster, and that's urea comes from like the pea, like chicken pea and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And, oh, man, I don't even want to think about chicken pea. I only use my own pea.
I'd rather spend the $2.99 on a bottle.
Yeah, I think I would too. But what you did say, man, because you mentioned it earlier on, when you wake up in the morning and you take that first pee of the day, man, you can have all that stuff backed up from the whole night, But it's salts, man. It says here salts are abundant in human urine. So if you were to, do that, maybe you can end up with some fertilization issues. And that's where I guess homie came in saying that, you got to dilute it. Slayer 420 says dilute it 20-1.
Well,
We're going to pee on your plants.
It is a little bit salty. I mean, don't pretend like y'all never peed on your hands.
Chad is back, man. I love it, bro. But all in all, man, I wouldn't recommend it at all, guys. We're just looking at the pros and cons of everything here. So, of course, there are hygienic risks and stuff like that. And if you're not healthy, you probably don't want to be peeing on your plants. And, the urine fertilization is not an exact science. Can't be the same for every grower. Not everyone's body composition and shit like that is the exact same. So just spend the $2.99, get some nutrients, and yeah, do it the right way. That's what I would say. I hope you would agree with me, Chad.
100%. No disagreement there.
Okay, I hope so, bro. Oh shit, man. Okay, so that's how I keep it rolling, man. Because also, we were talking earlier about like the specific vibrations and sounds and stuff like that. But what about if you were to harvest your plants at specific times? So I know some people go so far as to only harvest their plants. Like me personally, I don't like to just chop down plants in the middle of, the lights on phase. I would wait until like the lights are just about to turn on or just have turned on for a little bit, then I would harvest. But what about you? Do you think that there's any truth to that at all? Do you have any preference to that? Like, what do you do?
I do. I like to harvest like right at lights on or right before light on. And I don't have a like hard science-based back explanation for it, but knowing that the functions of the plant, and this is how it's been explained to me, is when the lights are on, there's a lot more heat, there's more photosynthesis that drives uptake from the root zone. So if you're harvesting in the middle of your light cycle, there's probably more moisture, there's probably more water in the plant at that time, because that's just the natural cycle. That's how the plant works. But if you were to harvest it right before the lights come on or right at the lights, it hasn't been drawing nearly the same amount of water during that 12-hour off period. So you already kind of have a head start on the drying process. And that's how it was explained to me. And I do know plants work that way. So I'm just like, yeah, I'll roll with it.
Yeah, interesting, man. I personally think I heard something similar, and that's why I just prefer to harvest at that point as well. Like if I've come home a little bit late and whatever, and the lights have kicked on for about 4 hours before I got home, I'm just gonna be like, okay, screw it, I'm gonna harvest tomorrow instead. I'm gonna leave it for an extra day.
Yeah. I mean, again, an extra day, it's not gonna hurt too much. So go for it, plan it a little bit better. But if that's all the time that you have is like a 3-hour window in the middle of the day to get it done, then get her done. But yeah, try to do it before lights come on.
Yeah, I would agree with that one, man. And guys, smash that like, man. We got so many bro science tips we've just literally blazed through, man. But the last one I did want to touch on is sort of like on the I just tried to twist my headphones got all fucked up. But the last one I did sort of want to touch on was one related to the good old subject of peeing on your plants, man. And my homie, where is it, man? My homie took it a little bit further. Where is it, man? He took it a little bit further and he said, what if you pooped on your plants? Oh, here it is. Christopher Brady, should I ever take a dump straight into my soil? Any benefits to that? So would you? Because XCal says he will never R. Kelly his girls. So what do you think about that, man? Human poop. I don't know. Imagine that can smell.
Oh, God. Again, there's a little bit of truth to it. But it's not a good idea. Like you can use it for compost, but again, think of all the crap that we take in and all that actually goes out in our crap. That crap goes out in your crap.
Literally.
I need a piece of it. So yeah, and the fact is it's like too hot. Like I mentioned urea, chicken pee, and chicken poop. It all comes out one whole, so it's mixed together. That after it cools off can go and be used as a nutrient, but to take it like straight from the ground and put it on your plants, you're going to burn it because it's way too hot. And I imagine your poop would kind of be the same.
Yeah.
Again, certain areas of the world, that may be a source of compost. Do it, but I'd rather buy the bottle.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, man. Personally, I'm not pooing on my plants. Homie says, Canna Kelly. You guys are going off in the chat, bro.
Canna Kelly. Damn.
Pepper Plug says, surviving Canna Kelly. Save your pee for Bear Grylls. Oh, man, I would definitely agree with all you guys on that, man.
That guy.
But yeah, dude. So I think we've touched on a lot of great stuff, man. And personally, I'm not going down the route of, peeing or pooing on my plants. And like you said, I think personally it'll just be a little bit too hot. Even stuff like manure, chicken poop and stuff like that, if untreated, uncured, or whatever the scientific stuff is, that can run hot. Like, so personally, I'm going to just grab the stuff at the bottom of the store, man. Not gonna grab a bottle and pee in it. And as Norma G says, man, the conversation is right at the base now. So we're gonna look to wrap things up with you guys. And Chad, tell all the good old people where they can find you, because we had a banging episode, brother.
This has been freaking awesome. Thanks for the fun interjection to my day, man. And everybody in chat, you guys rock too. I've been watching this whole time and hilarious. You guys can find me on my Instagram is chad.westport, and then on the YouTube channel, Chad Westport. Those are really the two places to stay up to date and to find me and what I'm doing.
Hell yeah.
And I want to get you on over there soon.
Yeah,
Please
man.
come and hang out with me.
Always, man. I'm definitely down. Just give me a date and I'm gonna make it happen,
Awesome.
bro. Oh yeah, and you guys definitely check Chad out on Instagram. Check him out on YouTube. He's doing some great stuff. Got some great grow videos. He's always doing podcast episodes. Great host, and he's doing some great stuff, growing some great flowers, and he's got some great genetics, man. So Chad, thanks so much for hanging out with us, man. Everyone in the chat, thank you guys for kicking it with us, man. Really love you guys. And we got the Chad gang in the house.
Westport.
Before we head out, you guys don't forget, stay high and stay motherfucking fly. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, fam. Bye.